Welcome back to the Accessible Art History YouTube channel. This week, I'm going to be discussing one of the great artists of the Northern Renaissance, Hans Holbein. His portraits are some of the most realistic from the era and help us to understand the people of the Tudor period. This video, however, will focus on a few of his preparatory sketches. I find them to be fascinating and an intimate look into a long ago age. To learn more, then keep on watching. Before we dive into the sketches, I think it's important to understand who Hans Holbein was. He was born in Augsburg in the Holy Roman Empire, now modern-day Germany, in 1497. His father, Hans Holbein the Elder, was a respected and fairly successful late Gothic painter. Holbein the Younger, as he's also known, took after his father and started an artistic career. He took the style of his father and blended it with the ideas from both the Italian and Northern Renaissance. What came about was a unique style that would catch the eyes of many important patrons. The first important patron of Hans Holbein was Desiderius Erasmus. He was a humanist scholar and also a Catholic priest. He wrote widely on the problems within the Catholic Church, but did not align with the more extreme reformists of Martin Luther or John Calvin. In 1526, Holbein traveled to England on Erasmus's advice. There he made a connection with Sir Thomas More, another humanist and close confidant to King Henry VIII. This was his big break. Holbein did return to Germany for a short time, but he was back in England by 1532. His main patrons at this time were Thomas Cromwell and Anne Boleyn, which led to his promotion in 1535 to the position of the king's official painter. This role came with some diplomatic and political perks. For example, in the late 1530s, King Henry VIII sent Holbein on a mission to paint portraits of women who were eligible to become the next Queen of England. Thankfully, the king did not blame Holbein for his ill-fated fourth marriage to Anne of Cleves. Hans Holbein died in the fall of 1543. Although there aren't definitive historical records, many scholars believe that he died of the plague. Holbein left behind dozens of portraits and sketches that helped define a fascinating era of history. One of the most important sketches, in my opinion, that Holbein made was of Anne Boleyn. After her trial and execution in 1536, King Henry VIII ordered all images of her to be destroyed. However, this one miraculously survived. It was discovered in a bureau drawer in 1727 in Kensington Palace. Although we can't be 100% sure that this image is of Anne, there are some compelling evidence that suggests that it is her. The Royal Collection, which owns the sketch, lists it as an image of the beheaded queen, likely from a couple years before her death. What makes this work so remarkable is the intimacy it provides. It was rare to see royalty in anything other than their best finery. But in the sketch, we see Anne in a nightgown and an undercap. Just a few hairs peek out from underneath the fabric. Her eyes look down and they don't acknowledge the viewer. There's a slight hint of a double chin. Due to this, and the estimated date of creation, has led historians to believe that she was pregnant when Holbein sketched this. That is yet another intimate detail of royalty that we are privy to. As I mentioned, Sir Thomas More was one of Holbein's first contacts when he came to England. More was not only famous for his political career, but also for his 1516 book, Utopia. He was quite close to King Henry VIII, until he refused to recognize the monarch as the head of the new Church of England. More lost his head for this in 1535. In this sketch, Sir Thomas More sits at a three-quarter view. This is a fairly new concept at the time. It was first developed by Leonardo da Vinci. The most striking detail is More's piercing eyes. Although they don't connect with the viewer, they are intense and filled with intelligence. They almost leap off the paper. Sir Thomas More is also shown wearing fur and a black hat, traditional clothes for his station. The final sketch that I'm going to cover in this video is of Sir Thomas Wyatt. He was a courtier in the court of King Henry VIII, and a popular one at that. He's famous for two things. The first is his poetry. In fact, historians credit Wyatt with introducing the sonnet to English readers. Second is his possible affair with Anne Boleyn. Their families lived near each other in Kent, and they had known each other for years. There are some allusions to her in his poetry, but nothing is certain. Wyatt was arrested during Anne Boleyn's trial, but was released. What comes across most about Wyatt's personality in this work is his sense of style and confidence. A cap sits jauntily on his head and tipped to one side. His beard and hair are well groomed. His eyes don't quite make contact with the viewer, but we can imagine that he does sense our presence. This is a sketch of a confident courtier. Holbein's sketches give viewers an unprecedented view into the world of Tudor England. They may be incomplete, but we do get a sense of the sitter through them.